Hello there. Today, we're back with Ferrari. It's been a few days as I've been enjoying my Easter. Hope everyone else has had a good Easter too, but mine has been great. But today, we're back with the Ferrari and the Lewis Hamilton show, the experience, so to speak. Currently, we're in a nice position here. We're almost 80 points ahead of Red Bull. Hamilton has a good 25 points down to Sergio Perez. We have Leclerc in third, but Verstappen has been a tad disappointing here in fourth, but that might change as over the last few races here, our car has become progressively worse as the bonuses or boosts that we have been giving to the other teams have started to manifest. So I want to see exactly how they manifest today. Currently, the Red Bull car is, unless I'm very mistaken, a slightly better car than us, a vastly better car when it comes to the high speed, the brake cooling, engine cooling, and they still have a little bit more to go on. So they could really be difficult to beat from here on out. So I'm looking forward to seeing how exactly this works out and if we're going to be able to make a bit of a comeback because we're going to have to. Now, in terms of our development, we are still developing parts that are just experience, expertise. That's the one. Expertise boosting, which means that once we're done with these four parts, we're actually going to have to start making parts that will improve the car in a meaningful way. Because as I mentioned, we currently have the third best car, and I think, as I mentioned again, that over the next few races here, we're going to be seeing more, or rather better, development from the other teams, and our car might become probably not the worst on the grid, but probably midfield, I would think. So we do need to keep that in mind, and if we aren't careful, we could end up in a bit of a troublesome situation, but we'll have to see exactly how it plays out. Again, I'm messing around with the editor for this, so it's a bit difficult to balance. Now, this is something that has been kind of a theme in every single one of my saves. I don't think I've gotten this through yet, the changing path limits. Gearbox, ERS, and engine. It did get voted down yet again. Myself and only two other teams voted for, and I've just yet to get that through, which makes me very sad. But on the positive side, we have a reduced deadline here for the rear wing, which means that it will now be done in just 9 days. So we'll get both of these, or all three of these parts, finished before Belgium. But as mentioned, the expertise boosters, they'll not have any effect on the races themselves. But yeah, we'll have to take a look this session, evaluate basically how the other teams are doing, and if we're still struggling with basic competitiveness, we might end up condensing the remainder of the series. But as I said, I would love to just have this one-off season as a more of a competitive dive between more than just us and Red Bull. So, all those were my hopes. It might be better to make a standalone series for that. But we're about to head into Hungary. Let's see how our two drivers do. And if we take a look at the car analysis, it's not looking good for us. We have now fallen down to 15th on the high speed scale, 8th on the low speed. So technically now we are probably worse rated than the fourth best car. We're probably already the fifth best car. Red Bull, they haven't improved their high speed cornering ability, but I want to see exactly who is behind us, and of course it's Alfa Romeo. Alfa Tauri is slightly ahead. Haas is ahead. The Williams is massively ahead. Look at that. And yeah, every single team is ahead now, so we're going to have to put in a little bit more work into our cornering. But interestingly enough, if we can alleviate the top speed issue that we have, get a little bit more high speed, most of these cars are going to be pretty close to each other. So looks like we have been going in the correct direction. But the question now remains if we boosted the other teams too much. But it's going to make for entertaining, I think, end to the second half of the season. For now, though, let's jump directly into Hungary and see if, well, we can still get a podium with what's arguably the fourth or fifth best car. So we're just done with quali, and kind of what I expected here, that we are having a bit of a closer grid, is kind of happening. Red Bull is actually half a second ahead of us with Verstappen, which is madness, but this was a wet quali. We didn't really have any good runs as a result of that. You can kind of see Q1 here, hard tire run. We basically were around the same as our soft tire run. So Probably not the best of performance from our drivers. And again, we just had just a one run because of rain. So it's not really representative. You can kind of see it here with both Astons, Alonso being out in Q1, for instance. Piastri down in 18th with Norris in 5th. So it kind of tells you that we can't actually know how good or how bad these cars are just based on our performance here. You can see Ocon, Q2, had a better time on his mediums than he did the softs. So, yeah, can't fully estimate. And Sainz did have a lockup on his dry run. That is why he's so far behind. Otherwise, he'd probably be up there alongside Russell. So yeah, the teams are pretty close, with the exception of maybe Red Bull. We'll have to see if they've developed their car into more of a machine. But we do have the lack of high-speed cornering currently compared to the other cars, and that is probably going to come back to haunt us just a little bit. Now, in terms of Hungary here, the time considerations, 21-second pit stops. That's pretty short. Compound performance, 3/10 between softs and mediums. 300 degradation difference, so softs holds an advantage of 10 laps. Medium to hard, basically the same, 3/10 difference, but 200 degradation, so mediums advantage of 15 laps. We probably want to try and do something with the mediums here for the most part, and just to be on the safe side, about 6/10 difference between soft and hard tire with 500 degradation. That is 12-ish laps. So soft tires degrade really, really quickly here, and we need to take that into account when we make our strategy. I do think we want to start on the medium though, and I just want to have a look at what we have available to us. So, yeah, we have mediums, we have hards. Let us see. I think what we do here is just very simply that we start with... I kind of want us to start on the hard tire, is what I am feeling. And it would probably be silly to go to hard again in case we have a red flag or something. But I kind of want to try this out, that we go to the hard tire. Now, we could maybe make it to the end on a soft tire, but let's face it, it won't be hot enough. Now, we could do it with a medium tire instead, but this strategy is just going to be slightly quicker than the base strategy, so it does come with that drawback. But it is potentially viable to do something like this. What I'd like to try and do instead is have a look at the hard strategy. And what we can do if we say put in a medium before we go to a soft tire, how would that look in terms of total pace? Around the same, but it does carry higher risk, if you will. What if we do 2 sets of softs? How would that look? Would it be viable? It would be somewhat viable. Both strategies are around the same in terms of pace, so I think we just put them on the double hard strategy. And I was actually mistaken then, Quali, just to be clear. We must have set that on either a medium or a soft tire in Q1, which basically means we should have been disqualified, but it was wet. That is why we didn't. So those times actually might be very representative, and that would be worrisome. So we'll have to see. I actually had a small break between Q1 and Q2, so my mind slipped there. But yeah, we have 2 fresh hards because of the wet in Q1 that allowed us to kind of bypass that rule. But yeah, for now, I'm thinking we are going to try and do that. What I mentioned, go hard on the hard tires into a soft. The only other option that I feel that we have available to us would be to try and do something like this. That isn't necessarily going to be very quick. It's slightly quicker than the base strategy, but it's not super quick or anything like that, so it does come with a drawback. The other thing we could do is do this, where we use both of the medium and the soft as a more strategic choice. And it is actually quicker than this one, so this might be better off than trying to use the hards aggressively here. I thought that would be the better option. Clearly it isn't. It would be better to use the mediums here in a light manner before we go into a soft light. That's going to be slightly quicker. So we're going to do that for both cars. Starting on the hards here, pushing them should be fine. We'll have to see exactly how bad degradation is too. Because if the degradation is less than anticipated, this might work out even better. But yeah, I think this is fine. Let's jump into the race itself and see how we perform.
And here we go with the Hungarian Grand Prix.
So the Red Bull has kind of opted for the same strategy. The Red Bull of Paris. Verstappen with the medium tire. Going to keep things somewhat interesting. And Hamilton already launching a small attack against Perez. Probably not going to get it on the outside though, let's be fair. But it's nice to see that the will is there to attack. Well, we have Norris sneaking his way up into 4th position. He does have a 5/10 advantage right now, just because of the soft tires. But I do think that we'll get it back before the end, so it's not really a big deal. It's actually kind of expected, if you will, as Stroll has a bit of a moment there as he runs wide. You can already see that we are struggling a little bit here, as we've fallen back a full second for Hamilton, half a second for Leclerc. So we're really struggling a little bit compared to the Red Bulls, and Verstappen there with a lockup. He just can't get a break this season. But yeah, we are going to stick with this strategy, see what we can do as Leclerc gets the overtake done there, gets a little bit of that confidence back, and I think this is, again, our best bet. Just go hard, go medium, go soft, and hopefully we'll be able to, as I said, make it work till the end. Leclerc is probably going to end up fighting Norris a bit, and it's not bad for him. It's going to help his confidence, so I don't mind. But yeah, hopefully we can avoid any silly crashes. I'm honestly a bit surprised here that Hamilton has been able to overtake Paris and eke out a bit of a gap. It is very, very surprising. We even have a virtual safety car.
So just look for debris.
As long as it's just a virtual, we save about 5 seconds from pitting.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to take advantage of this. We'd end up pretty far down the order. Again, it takes about 16 seconds to pit. Hamilton would come out with Gasly and Tsunoda. So I think we're just going to go ahead here and allow the virtual safety car to run this course. And as you can see, no one so far has opted for actually taking advantage of it. As Albon has a bit of a moment. That's gonna hurt in the engine department. That is direct hit with the rear. That's pretty, that can quickly become very, very expensive. Yeah, we are gonna allow the virtual safety car to run its course, and we are still gonna keep on pushing these tires. We have slightly less drag on these tires than anticipated, so medium, soft should be following the degradation pattern, I would think. And I'm gonna give Leclerc a little bit of extra help here, so we might be able to overtake Perez, and by getting by Perez, create a little bit more of a gap and potentially a little bit of a buffer for our cars. But yeah, it's going to have a little bit of work ahead of him there to get the overtake done. Confidence wise, we're looking good. Hamilton looking very good there up in first, so we can be very, very happy with how this race has gone so far. We're getting increasingly closer to the first pit window, and a lot of the cars have already started pitting. As you can see, Norris pits just now. The question that we have to ask ourselves here now is, do we use these hards to their full potential, or do we just pit onto the mediums? And I think the answer to that is we just pit onto the mediums. We'll have a look, though, and see, in particular for Norris here, and give it a lap or two more for our boys. I want to see exactly what kind of lap times they're doing, because currently we're running 19.4s, 20 and a 20.2, so we're not exactly running terrible lap times, and Norris did come out in traffic, so we could benefit from staying out a little bit longer. Let's see, there are no one else in the 19s here. Again, I want to see what Norris does this lap, but we're probably going to be pitting on this next lap anyways. But again, as long as we keep up basically around the same lap times as the cars behind, we don't really have anything to fear, so there's no need to jump into the pits early just due to that. 19.1 though from Norris is a little bit dangerous, because that means he could potentially get into a position where he will overtake us. So we do want to pit. I think I'm going to allow Hamilton to do one more lap here though, just so we don't kind of stack too close. Just 4 seconds between them. That's a little bit too close for comfort, if you ask me. So I'm going to allow Hamilton to run one more lap before we pit him, just to be on the safe side. And Leclerc here comes out in 7th, ahead of Norris, which is good. And everyone ahead is going to have to pit. Norris is the only one that has pitted, and he's gone onto the hard tires. So hopefully we'll still be able to benefit from this. And Paris is still on his hard tire, You can kind of see the difference there from what we've been doing. Perez has 20% more hard tire remaining, but he has kept up with Hamilton. So the car is good. It's just difference in strategy, I would say. Now Hamilton is going to come out pretty close to Ocon, which is not great because that means we have to try and force the overtake. But it should be fine, honestly. It would allow us to build more confidence. It's not a terrible thing. And honestly, I think I want to take advantage of that and try and get close while we still have DRS distances between them. Gasly ends up pitting now. So, yeah, Ocon probably is going to end up pitting soon then. And as mentioned, want to take advantage of that, get the overtake done, stay behind him, get a little bit extra heat in the tires without losing lifespan. Would be nice as well. But yeah, we'll see how this squares up. Perez has just pitted, and he comes out next to Norris. Perez gone for the medium tire. We have Russell hunting us down with a soft tire. You can see him right behind us there. So it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a interesting potential fight towards the end of this race, as several drivers do seem to be on the same strategy. We have Verstappen, who's also pitted onto a new hard tire, running in 7th, so he's definitely quick. Basically made it from the last to 7th here in less than 20 laps. Well, I don't remember exactly when he ran off, but like half a race. At least getting back up there pretty rapidly, and even Perez here now has overtaken Leclerc. So we might be in a tad bit of trouble. I do think that we can turn the cars up to standard, hopefully, but it does kind of tell you just how quick the Red Bulls actually are, and that they are actually a bit of a threat here. So we're going to have to keep our wits about us and see what we can do in the final stint. Verstappen has just caught up to Leclerc and overtaken him. And we've also started here the final set of pit stops, and that's going to happen for our cars too now. So we're going to allow both Leclerc and Hamilton here, I think, to push, and we want to get in. Mentioned here, Verstappen, Perez, both of them are going to have to pit, and what I assume we're going to be seeing here are soft tires. And we even have a virtual safety car here. We definitely want to take advantage of that to get onto the soft tire. So we're going to be double stacking here, and well,
and it was involving Leclerc this time.
Interestingly enough, Leclerc loses it under virtual safety car. That is a bit unfortunate for him, because that's going to ruin his confidence a little bit. But luckily enough, he was not the cause of the virtual safety car. That was Gasly. Not a bad crash, shouldn't be too much damage, but he's probably out, and yeah, he is, so that is understandable. But as you can see here, Verstappen, Leclerc was basically running with him. Perez, Hamilton, I think we'll be seeing everyone here into the pits. I thought Leclerc had a different moment there, to be honest, and Verstappen goes into the pit, but Perez stays out. That's going to earn us a good 5 seconds on him if he doesn't pit in time. Good stop there for Hamilton. Can we have a good stop here for Leclerc as well? We can. But yeah, that does make things a little bit awkward for Perez. Potentially, he will not be able to save time by pitting on a virtual safety car unless he does it now. He does not. Okay. That could keep things a little bit interesting here. Verstappen is the only one that has pitted the cars ahead. Ocon is going to need to pit. Russell is going to stay on the hard till the end. So looking good for both Leclerc and Hamilton here. Although, to be fair, Hamilton just now is not that great in terms of, well, distance up to Perez. But Perez lost so much time there. I want to see how much this lap time is for him. At 26.2? This is 21.1. So yeah, Perez did in fact lose 5 seconds there, just due to where the virtual safety car ended. And we are kind of pulling Russell along here, I'll be honest. So I'm going to go ahead and deploy some energy. We can regain that later on. But I want to get away from Russell. I do not want to benefit the hard runner behind us with, you know, a DRS pull. Because again, Leclerc does have a little bit of work ahead of him.
Focus on temperature.
But I'm also scared for Verstappen here. We are gonna need some energy for when he catches up. And as you can see, Perez does now pit, and he's going to come out behind his teammate due to the decision to not pit on the DRS, or DRS, VSC. So again, very disappointing. The AI doesn't take full advantage, but we'll be happy with it for this one. But yeah, Leclerc here does have a bit of work ahead of him. I don't know if we're going to be able to catch up to the cars ahead, honestly. We are currently saving a bit of tire that we'll be using towards the end. But I think because we are running them currently less optimal heat, let's just put it like that, that we might have to go for standard and just try and make something happen. Because I don't think saving tire here is going to be good enough for Hamilton, honestly. We might be able to do it if we can keep up with Verstappen through the rest of the race here, or the track. But the main worry that we have is the fact that we are lacking now in cornering ability compared to the Red Bull, not to mention top speed. And as a result, they're going to be able to most likely overtake us and then get away from us. So Hamilton here is going to have a bit of a tough job ahead of him just due to that. And we're going to have to see now if we can keep up with Verstappen over the course of a lap. And already we're half a second down. 7/10 down, 8/10 down. Losing more time in the corners here. Just barely get DRS, and I don't think we're going to be able to cut down the gap. No, we're not. So currently we don't actually have any way really to fight the Red Bulls, as bad as that is. And Perez is even on fresh soft tires. So yeah, we'll have to see. Fighting Perez is probably the best we can hope for with Hamilton. And we'll have to see how high up Leclerc can get as well. So we'll see how it goes in these last 10 laps. So we're getting very closer to the end now. Just almost 3 laps to go. And I think we're going to gamble on just going full attack here from this point onwards. We have caught up to Perez, but that is not really due to any... You know, it's not our... We are not the reason why we caught up to Perez. Hulkenberg is, as he held Perez up for a bit. You can kind of see it already here that we are falling back again in terms of pace. And yeah, we are struggling at the moment against the Red Bulls. It could be different on a different track, of course, but we're not having the best of times. And we might have started this attack a little bit early here, just looking at the times. But Piastri could play a good role here in holding up Perez, and he did. Saved us 1.5 seconds and potentially put us in a position here now to at least secure second place. But we're still getting kind of dominated here, and the reason why I'm saying that is twofold. Verstappen is leading. Verstappen had that incident that put him in last place, and even though that happened, he's currently leading this GP. We are capable of fighting Perez, as Hamilton has proven.
Checkered flag now.
But with Leclerc 11 seconds down the order,
Great work, guys.
Red Bull are at least a little bit strong here.
Drive, mate.
The Mercedes also are back in contention with the McLaren. Alonso made it back up to 8th, so Stroll in 11th. You can see that the Aston Martins are also kind of competitive. So I'm looking forward to seeing over the next couple of races here how the pecking order is going to be. And as I mentioned here, while Verstappen is a monster, as long as we get a little bit more development into the car, I do believe that we can fight the Red Bulls. So it's looking very, very interesting going forwards, honestly. Now, with that said, this does allow Hamilton to extend his gap to Perez, and Verstappen starts to eat up the difference a little bit, so it's not all bad. Finally, Verstappen is back on the winning foot, although he did have that incident. He still won. Kind of reminiscent of when, well, it wasn't as bad of an incident, but when he spin to win last time around in Hungary. So yeah, that is interesting in its own right. At least we had good pit stops, so yeah, we're gonna have to develop the car a little bit over the summer break, see if we can make it slightly better. But I'm liking what I'm seeing here. It could make the next season very much, at least a little bit more interesting. And we do have an underfloor made right now. Let's just have a quick look at what the underfloor has to offer. Less dirty air tolerance, slight cornering, a little bit on that top speed we're missing. 0.43. Let's see if we can design another one, if it's going to be worth it. So if we design another underfloor here, 42 days until next ATR period. I assume I did something like this last time around. Looks like it, but we're definitely going to design another one because, again, right now we are lacking a little bit in terms of cornering ability. Again, this isn't actually representative because some cars have damaged parts. We'll have a better representation at before next race. But I'm willing to make another underfloor like this, and we're actually going to start doing what we did at the start of the season, which is rush a piece, because I want to get this done so we have it available for sandboard. And this should be able to make that happen. This would be a pretty sizable upgrade in our position. Again, we're over 2 kph behind top speed. This takes out a quarter of that. We get a little bit of cornering ability. We get a little bit of dirty air tolerance, although we don't really care too much about dirty air tolerance. We're going to go ahead and do this. We still have plenty of money halfway through the season on the cost cap. So that is a good investment, I personally feel. Rear wing and front wing have failed on car 1, and on car 2 we have front wing and side pods. So we need to make rear wings, front wings, side pods if we have manufacturing slots available to us. We do. Could start making these ones that are a slight upgrade, but I'd like a bigger upgrade. And we are going to be making upgrades to mainly chassis side pods. I think those two need to happen. So that's going to be happening soon. To be fair though, there's nothing that really stops us from making these if we need replacements anyways. So let's just go ahead and get one of those manufactured. And for the rear wing here, that is a development wing. We're not going to be making that one. And for the front wing here, going to make 2 of these. I just like having 6 front wings. Just feels a little bit easy because if you have a bad weekend, you can destroy 4 or 5 of these in the worst case scenario. But yeah, underfloor design has been completed. Car part inspection results. We did pop in new engines at the last race. The current ones have hit the 50% mark. We are also going to need an extra ERS before the end of the season. These are our second ones. So what I think is going to happen this year is that we are going to be buying a new engine that we're probably going to be using for the last 3 or 4 races to just try and give us that little bit of an extra edge. So any development we do right now needs to be on point. Let's just put it like that. Chassis and rear wing research or designs have been finalized, and we'll take a look at these. So the chassis is again just a development one. We try and work on cooling and top speed. That is fine. The rear wing, I assume, is the same one, so let's have a look at that in the warehouse. Again, one more that we focus a little bit on development. It's a bit weird though. Extra weight is not great, so yeah, we probably can make a new rear wing. That would be a bit of a boost, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's have a look at what we can actually pull together. If we do this, slight upgrade, can get some cornering ability. Let's see, if we put these down to the bottom, what do we get then? Just 0.22, we get 5% there. It is a small increase. Do I want to do this? Again, the main thing that our car currently is lacking is, as you can see, the high-speed cornering ability compared to the rest of the field. And we could actually get a decent chunk of that from this rear wing. So, while it's not really recommended, I'm willing to sacrifice what amounts to a little bit of cornering from the other stats and 0.1 kph to get a little bit more high-speed cornering from this rear wing. In fact, we could probably do it with 2 of these if we really, really wanted to. Because I think we can get more top speed from other parts, like our chassis, like our side pods, than we would get from the rear wing. But I think it is enough to do it like this. Get more high-speed cornering, get a little bit DRS effectiveness, get a little bit top speed. And for this one too, we're going to go ahead and rush it, but I don't think we have the engineers really to get it done in time. So it's going to be there for Monza, which is fine. I do want to put 1 more engineer on this, probably 2, which could allow us to have it for sandboard. And that too would be beneficial. So we're going to go ahead and get that done. I am going to go ahead and take 1 engineer off the underfloor project. No, I want to have enough time that I can potentially build 2 underfloors before sandboard. That would be more valuable. So let's do it like this. And then last thing was the chassis that we were working on. For this one, I want to focus on top speed. I want to focus on airflow. And maybe even sacrifice a little bit of the cooling. And already this is looking very, very promising. 0.73 kph. We don't lose any cooling. We do lose a little bit of cornering. So let's tune this down slightly. Looking at 0.5 kph. I think we make this one purely due to the fact that it'll be an alternative that we can have. And we might make another one that does no focus on top speed, but as you can see, even if we do this, we get so much more engine cooling just because of expertise gains. And we barely gain any extra medium and high-speed cornering. So we're going to make this one as our starting base. We're going to rush it. That way we'll have it done, at least one of them done for Sandvort. Hopefully. Actually, we will not. We can switch it after before Q1. We might have one for Sandvort. We'll see. But yeah, we're going to rush this one as well. We're not going to be doing any design and development for the last 2 months, really. So we don't really need to be super efficient with our budget here, which is why I'm mainly rushing a lot of these projects right now. But yeah, we'll have to see what these side pods are once they actually get finished. I assume we're going to have to make another design afterwards. But we'll have a look at that when we have to. Now, we have the Belgian GP tomorrow. Let's get set up for that. And it also includes a sprint. So this could probably also be a good place where we can see just how our car actually performs against other cars, because there's barely any degradation around this place. And, if we take a look at the car analysis again, our car sucks at the two things you need here: top speed and high speed corners. So potentially here, we might even get tossed off the podium. Remains to be seen though. I'm looking forward to this race. So quality for Belgium is done, and we have some upsets. Let's put it like that. So both Williams are in the top 10. Albon made it up to the third, but he's going to be punished. So we're going to be moving forwards. Of course, we're going to have to do a sprint before this, though. So order's probably not going to be like this. But we have Verstappen. Pretty dominant performance throughout. He's half a second ahead of Hamilton, who is our quickest car. He is 6/10 ahead of Leclerc. And he's even 3/10 ahead of Alonso in second. So Verstappen might become a monster till the end of this season, which could be bad. But we have Mercs in it, we have Alpine, we have the McLaren, and we also have Perez, who somehow failed, but you can kind of see he did not have a good Q2. He was 7/10 slower than his time in Q1. So, a bit unfortunate from Sainz as well. But this should make for a more interesting Belgian GP. For now, though, we'll get ready for the sprint and see what we end up doing, because we still have, the second practice to get through. So here we are. We're ready for the sprint, and we're just going to do a very, very basic full attack medium stint. It's going to be quicker than anything else. Even if we take the soft tire here, turn it to aggressive, which is basically the best we can do. The medium tire is still going to be slightly quicker, and you have a little bit of tire to go on. So we're just going to go full attack on the medium. Degradation shouldn't be too high here either, so we should be seeing less deg than what is expected. And as such, we can probably climb a little bit up on the order is what I'd hope. But again, we are the worst car, one of the worst cars currently when it comes to high speed, top speed, and also high speed cornering. So we're going to actually have a bit of a rough race weekend, I think. It's going to be interesting to see how this all develops. For the start here, we have everyone except us on the soft tire. Leclerc makes up a position, but aside from that, everyone is holding on to the positions they started in. And the soft tires are going to be strong here at the beginning, but you can kind of see why Verstappen is a bit of a monster. He's already eked out a full second halfway into the lap here. Let's see exactly how far ahead he's going to be when we get to the first lap completion here, because this is actually kind of insane and kind of scary. He has 2 seconds on Alonso. Actually more than that, but let's just say 2 seconds for, the hopeful sake. He's basically, again, just outside DRS, way ahead of everyone else within the first lap. But yeah, we'll have to see what we can do with developing our car. If there's any way we can nerf Verstappen. I wouldn't really want to nerf Verstappen though, because this could give us a bit of a fight, but we'll have to see how it looks a little bit closer to the end of the season. But so far, again, this is one of the tracks where we are expected to perform worse. So we'll have to see how we do. If we get a podium here, I'll be happy. But honestly, I don't think we're even really set up for that. So getting through the sprint without any incidents would be enough to keep me happy.
Watch out.
We've had a crash involving multiple cars. Let's just take a quick look.
So we're heading now into turn 5.
And it is
You
ghastly.
can see how tight it is. And the impact on the car, it's quite clear.
Slight touch
Now
there,
they're
but Gasly definitely did get punted to the back of the grid, I would think. Stroll as well. So both of them got punished by that. We have a gap now to Norris, but you can already see that Russell is extending the gap. But as mentioned, I think that as the others' tires they do kind of start falling off, we'll be able to catch up to the back of them and potentially get some overtakes done. So we'll see how things look once we get a little bit closer to the end of this race. I'm hoping for a 2-3 in the sprint rather than the race. But Leclerc says no. We're not going to have that.
Here's the replay. Now, this
That's
happens down
incredibly
in turn 8.
unfortunate. But also, let's put it this way. It's incredibly unfortunate, but it's very fortunate too that he didn't take out his teammate. Now, I think I'm going to gamble on us having enough tire here to keep things going. But at the same time, I think we're going to keep it aggressive here until he catches up to Hamilton in terms of degradation. But yeah, the second I said 2-3, Leclerc locked up, so let's just hope that both cars make it till the end of this. And we now have a safety car. Perfectly timed for Paris overtaking us, unfortunately. But Stroll has had his crash here. He's currently out, so he is the source. I don't know exactly what he did. That looks like a bit of a weird place for him to be out, so let's see if we can figure out who will be coming up on him first. It would have been Verstappen, but he has already been removed. And I don't think we're getting a replay here. This safety car does nullify things a bit. And at most, we're going to have like 2 or 3 laps of racing here once this is over. So, potentially, the safety car could benefit us, but remains to be seen. But yeah, even a podium here, as you can see, might be too much to hope for, with just how poorly we are performing around this track. So yeah, getting those new pieces after summer break is probably going to be very, very helpful. So I am looking forward to it. Let's speed things along here. See if we can get to the end of this the safety car. Lap 13, 3 laps to go. So current stage, maximum 2 laps of racing. If he does one more, then maximum 1 lap. So we're having 2 laps here. Gonna be pretty interesting to see if we can actually get something done. I don't think I'm willing to set up the risk taking, honestly. I feel like that might backfire horribly. So I think we're just going to allow things to kind of run their course a little bit here. This does also help the soft runners, of course. But even then, I don't think it's going to matter much. And I don't think we have what it takes really to get any overtakes done, because it's just a big DRS train. Maybe Leclerc can get up into 10th position. But any more than that would be probably hoping for a little bit too much. That was a little bit too quick. Multiple cars crashed. Okay. I clicked the wrong key. I assumed that there was a crash in the final corner. Because as you can see, there were 3 cars out. The Ries, Magnussen, and Hulkenberg. So both Haas and the AlphaTauri crashed in the last corner. I assume it caused a red flag. But yeah, not a good sprint from us. Albon did improve his position though. We'll have to see how far down he ends up with his penalty. But yeah, that was a bit of misclick. I want to go into 2x so we can have first person view. Did not really pan out that way. So we're starting 5th and 10th. And just to give you a little bit of an information in terms of compounds, there's 3 tenths between the soft and the medium. Degradation is also 300, so it's also holding an advantage for about 10 laps, which is 25% of the race around this place. So it's also very, very viable. Medium to hard, that's around 5 tenths. 2 tenths to hundreds. Degradation difference, sorry. Which basically means, again, 20, 25 laps, the mediums are going to hold an advantage over the hard, which means we want to avoid the hard tire as much as possible. And to add to that, we actually have an incredibly short pit lane of just 16 seconds. So a two-stopper here with an aggressive strategy is definitely viable, and that's exactly what I'm planning. I want us to do a soft medium strategy with potentially some aggression, and as you can see, this would be about 21 seconds quicker than that strategy, 11 seconds quicker than the one stop. So we're going to be banking on that to kind of get us to where we need to be. And again, I think that is the best way to do things. And also because degradation is low here, if we have a safety car or a virtual safety car, we will try and take advantage of them. There's just no way around that. But yeah, we are heading into a potentially very difficult race. I'll be happy as long as we're getting the points. Hopefully not a 1-2 from Red Bull, but we'll have to see how this goes. It could go. Anyways, there's a lot of crash potential here.
It's the Belgian Grand Prix.
And we end up with the Aston Martin
And in
front
flight
there.
out, and away we go.
Extra loud to do. But yeah, Russell has had a good move. Alonso's there with Verstappen. You can already see Verstappen gaining half a second in the first corner. Russell getting the overtake done. Hamilton's still 5th. Leclerc has a good launch. Gets up into 9th place. So, once again, decent start from us. Albon is down in 12th, so I assume he got a 10th place punishment. But yeah, gonna be a proper hard race weekend for us. Now, for this one, I think what we're going to do is, again, just push until we get to the first pit stop window. And hopefully we can get some overtaking done. Again, we are already falling behind. You can see that we are basically slowing down the rest of the grid. 1 second there for Hamilton. Almost a second for Leclerc. So that is a little bit troublesome. But we'll see how we stand once we get close to that first pit stop. We've had an incident here with Leclerc.
Okay.
He has immediately crashed, but he doesn't seem to be out just yet, I would think.
Right, let's follow the action now at turn 7. Now there's an inviting opportunity there, and the contact between the cars.
So
And
what
having
happened
seen it
is
back, I
the
think it's pretty obvious who was at fault.
Mercedes had an incident, and it turned into basically Leclerc got hit as a part of the deal. That's the best way I can describe what just happened. That is damage to chassis and front wing. Major damage to front wing. I think we're gonna go ahead and pit him here. But yeah, that looked a bit unfortunate. That's the best way I can put it. It is a virtual safety car, but even then, we are going to be at the back of the grid if we do pit here. I think we're gonna have to. That's the thing, and I think we just go for the soft tire here. But we're gonna be switching the strategy around a little bit, that we take care of these soft tires. So for Leclerc,
Stay positive.
just gonna wait for all these messages to go through.
Big rush down.
He is going to be chucked to the back of the grid. There's just no way around it. He did get his confidence a little bit shattered too. But yeah, very unfortunate there from Sainz. I really would have liked to see another replay, honestly. Because what I assume is Sainz had an incident, crashed a little bit, and then he came back and just kind of ricocheted into Leclerc. That is what I think happened anyways. So let's just have a look at what we can do for Leclerc's strategy. And what I think we do here is, as I mentioned, we turn this soft tire into a bit of a hard tire. And we might as well go ahead and do something like this. I think that would be for the best, although the aggression here does seem to work better. What if we do this? 1722. So it's better to not save the soft tire around here, simply due to the fact that, well, soft tires are still degrade fairly quick, but we're gonna have to just switch over to this. It's gonna be about 19 seconds slower. Well, let's face it, we don't have a choice at this point. We are gonna have to pit. There's no need to stay on the same tires. So we're going to be pitting him and running those soft tires at standard. and that's just how things are going to have to be. You can already see Hamilton 2 seconds behind, so he too is not having a good start to this race. And as mentioned, we are going to struggle a bit around here with 8 second stop time there, basically a full pit stop. So Leclerc's going to have a hard time coming back, but hopefully Hamilton can have a bit of a better race around here. We're getting increasingly closer to Hamilton's pit stop. He's currently running 6th. He's not too far off Perez. And with Verstappen jumping in the pits already, I think we can see the other sub runners kind of do the same thing. Now, if we were to pit now, with 16 seconds being the estimation, we're going to end up probably around, well, Stroll here. So we're going to have a little bit of work ahead of us. But I think that might be worth it. So we're going to go ahead here and jump in a little bit early onto these soft tires. But I think it's going to pay off in the long run, is all. As Norris also pits alongside us, we have a good stop. And we actually do sneak out ahead of Stroll. But even then, we're going to have a little bit of a DRS strain here to deal with. I still think it's going to be good. But yeah, luckily for us, Leclerc has found a little bit of confidence. But even then, we do have quite a bit of work ahead of us there to move him further forwards. We're getting very closer to Hamilton's second pit stop, and Leclerc just hasn't been able to really do anything. Currently, he's running around the same lap times as Verstappen, which is, of course, good. But if you consider that Leclerc's running softs and with DRS, whereas Verstappen isn't, that isn't necessarily a positive thing. Now, Hamilton, good stop there. We are onto our final pit stop here. And we're going to have to deal with Russell, who's basically on the same set of tire. Alonso, a bit older. Then Perez and Norris ahead as well. So we do have a little bit of work ahead of us. I don't know if we're going to be able to catch up, honestly. It's going to be close. So we do have a bit of a rough challenge ahead. And again, Leclerc just has been incredibly unlucky. None of these guys ahead are most likely going to pit again. So we'll have to see what we can do for him. Now, for Hamilton, we'll take a quick look at his current lap times. 156 was his out lap. 42.5 is his current lap, and that is around the same as the cars ahead. And that is going to be a bit of a problem and going to make it difficult to catch up and get a better position in this race, which is very, very unfortunate. As Russell also sets fastest lap. We've just had yet another incident. This time it's Hamilton and Alonso, and it looks like Hamilton's going to allow everyone to run past him, unfortunately.
With Lewis Hamilton here.
But yeah, Hamilton gets the overtake done and the DRS. Alonso basically turns in, takes him out. Is what it looks like to me. And as you can see here, a lot of the cars are just allowed to drive past. So yeah, this wasn't really a good race for us to begin with, but we've had incident that's made it absolutely horrible. This one among them, we did end up losing 3 positions there. So yeah, Alonso does get that penalty, kind of what we expected. But this does put us out of contention for hunting down Norris, Russell, Perez, and a potential podium. So I'm really curious how close Red Bull are going to be to us after this race, because Leclerc's not going to be scoring any points. We didn't score many points in the sprint, and potentially here, we might be in a tad of bit of trouble. Luckily enough, Hamilton does have very high confidence, and potentially here,
Pretty hot, mate.
we could be setting fastest lap 2 with, well, at least a purple sector 1. We'll have to see sector 2. But at least we should clear Alonso this time around. Then we can hunt down his teammate. So, while everything hasn't been amazing, at least it's a little bit of a positive here. We have peak confidence. We're going to try and hunt down Stroll. Norris is again out of the picture. 10 seconds, 3 laps. That's a little bit too much. But Stroll is definitely on the table, and if we can get him, I say that would be an acceptable end to this, as Leclerc also gets an overtake done on Magnussen. But yeah, not really been a good day for him at all. So that's unfortunate. And if you take into consideration that we are running quite a lot quicker than Norris, we probably would have gotten him if it wasn't for that incident with Alonso. You can kind of see it here. The tires are giving up, and even Alonso's tires are giving up. But that could also be because of the incident. So it's a bit unfortunate here. But I think 5th and potentially 15th is unfortunately what we're going to have to live with. We could deploy here for a club, but there's no need to put him in any more risky positions. As again, that just opens the chance for us having more destruction done to our car. Now, we have caught up 5 seconds to Norris. So again, pretty sure we would have caught him if not for the incident. Luckily for us, Russell is in there and snatched his fastest lap, as well as 2nd place. So, not as much damage as we could have received, but definitely not a good, race weekend.
Thank you so much for continuing to push this year.
At least Hamilton seems to be happy, but I really am not. But yeah, we now have a car that does need a bit of work. Verstappen has become the monster that he's supposed to be, although Russell did very, very well. Kind of impressive the Mercs actually worked this as well as they did. And Sainz, Sainz hit the wrong target, let's put it like that. So, it is what it is. It's very unfortunate that we couldn't, take advantage again. I think we would have finished better if it wasn't for the incidents. Hamilton is still, though, the leader for the time being. 22 points to Paris. But Verstappen is definitely making inroads here. Just 7 points now behind Leclerc. And just a couple of races ago, he was, 60 points lighter. Let's just put it like that. Constructor stand, we still have a healthy lead, but that healthy lead has become very, very small. And will probably be lost come Sandvoort. Verstappen will probably overtake us. That could be a bit problematic, but we will be developing the car now over summer. Hopefully some of the new pieces can put us in a better position, but we'll have to wait and see. Season objective, we are on target for the position, which is 2nd. We're currently 1st. We are currently fulfilling the long-term objective, and the board has handed us a little bit extra money for that, which is always nice, but yeah, not really a big deal here. Good deal, low morale, as it tends to go. We have destroyed a front wing and a chassis. I am confused. Pretty sure Leclerc destroyed a front wing as well. But it seems like it's been moved to car 2 here. So yeah, bit of a weird one. Let's see if we actually have the car parts that we need here to replace everything. Let's see. Install on car 1. There we are. Install on both cars. Install a replacement for that underfloor, and the suspension we can install a replacement. Rear wing has been failed. Let's replace that. We're going to go ahead and have a quick look at what we're currently developing. So front wing and suspension we can go ahead and manufacture because we kind of are going to need to. So let's go ahead and manufacture a suspension. This new one, might as well get started on them. This is a small but nice boost to have. And for the time being, could go ahead and manufacture 2 in a rushed manner. I think that's fine. Basically, we need to have slots available for the new designs, and also just a singular front wing. So yeah, that should be okay. We're also gonna have to make a new chassis. So once we get that next slot available, we're gonna go ahead and make that chassis, as you can see. And I think that brings us up to scratch. We are actually developing a new chassis, so I think we'll be fine with not manufacturing a new one. We'll get this one in 15 days, 11 days for the underfloor, 13 for the side pod, and then we have the rear wing in 21. So I think we're fine with just waiting. Car development, as mentioned, the car is not really good at the moment. The others have caught up. And in terms of our development here, smoothness, control, and accuracy for our drivers, so we'll be happy with that. Next up, the pit crew here, I'll get that sorted, but I believe they are maybe a little bit tired. They are. You can kind of see it here. Needs a little bit of rest, but I'll get this sorted quickly. So here we are with the pit stop crew training for this month. We're focusing on lowering the error chances. We're keeping the pit stop times where they are. A little bit of car building gains, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with this, honestly. So we'll go ahead and confirm and have a look after Netherlands for our, well, if we can do something after that. But yeah, I stand 30 points now between us and Red Bull. Netherlands is going to be an interesting one. Love to see if the developments we are making to the car will have any sort of effect, and if they don't, we're going to be very, very sad. But I think with CFD time, if we use it well, then we might be able to make some huge gains here. And, well, this one came at a very opportune time. Science Center improvements gives us more boost for our parts, gives us more engineers, and we can make every single piece at once. So we are definitely going to go ahead and accept said investment. We are going to go ahead and hire some engineers though before we do that. So let's go to the engineering team and hire an additional 5, which isn't really a big cost. Let's put it like that. With that, we can actually start developing front wings and suspension. And the front wings here, going to go for kind of the same that we have, with just a little bit of a twist here, where we sacrifice some of the brake cooling, which could be a terrible idea, let's be honest. But I think we need to do this just so we can actually develop a front wing that we can use in the future. So we're not probably going to end up using this one. It's going to basically just be a building block for later on in the season. Now, halfway through the season, 45 days design projects, probably not going to be very usable, to put it lightly. But we have to try everything that we have available to us right now, I do feel. So we're going to go ahead and get that sorted. And, well, take it from there. Now, we can actually get some brake cooling here from the suspension. If we sacrifice that brake cooling, we actually get a decent amount of cornering. But I think this would be the key, to just make suspensions that improve the brake cooling and then take those brake cooling gains off the front wing. So probably would have been better to design these in the other way around. But the front wing gains weren't big enough anyways for us to not do a kind of development wing. And even this is going to be a very minor gain for the suspension long term. So it's not going to change things immediately, but it's something that would be very nice to have. We are going to get that new underfloor in just 3 days. So let's see how it turns out. I believe this was a pretty major upgrade. Half a kph, cornering, 30 air tolerance. Gonna go ahead and see if we can get these made in time, and we can if we rush them. We can get them ready for sandboard. We're gonna go ahead and rush 2 of them, and we're gonna go ahead and design another underfloor immediately. Once again, just focusing on everything that isn't airflow sensitivity, and we're basically just gonna keep on making these for as long as we can, basically until we run out of money, that is. There's nothing else we really can do at this point. Side pod design has been completed, and this is the one that I assume wasn't really an upgrade, and let's be honest, it really isn't. So let's go ahead and design one that might be. Engine cooling, airflow front, we can sacrifice those 2. The thing here with this one is that we are sacrificing a lot of engine cooling, which means that we're going to need to buy extra components. But it might be what we have to do to be somewhat competitive again. And that is a weird sentence to say, but one that might be wholly accurate. We could even do this, get a little bit more engine cooling. I think we do a compromise where we sacrifice a slight amount of what we are getting. We get this one, we see how it performs, and if we need to, we make another one where we fully sacrifice engine cooling for performance. It's going to force us to buy extra parts, of course, but it might just be that we need to do it to keep ourselves in this until the end of the season. Again, this one, low top speed, sacrifice a bit of cornering, which is, again, worrisome, but not really anything we can do about it. We're just going to go ahead and make this normally. Can we afford to, though? 15 days. We'll have them ready for... We'll have them ready for Monza if we do. Basically, at this point, it's making the cost gap last until we get till the end of the season. I was going to go ahead and make a couple more of these suspensions. Maybe rushing them was a little bit too much. Just wanted to be on the safe side, though, in case we needed to have a slot available for that side pod. So that is why things turned out as they did. But yeah, we'll do it like this. We're just going to keep on kind of developing parts that we might end up using. This is, again, just a very minor upgrade. But it might be one that will have an effect towards the end of this season. For now, though, we'll speed along to Netherlands, and we'll see how we stack up. Rear wing has been done. I want to see how this rear wing stacks up. And again, it's a small increase, small upgrade, except for the huge amounts of high-speed cornering, so maybe I should have kept the slot open. But did kind of forget about that, I'll be honest. Underflow is done in a day, though, so while not perfect, it's acceptable. Go ahead and design another one. 13 days until we get CFD time, though. The question is what to put it into. And well, we have about 50% downforce here. Putting it into the rear wing might actually be a good idea. And just get that cornering ability up on the rear wing a little bit more. So we're going to keep this slot open so we can actually do CFD on the rear wing. I think that is an acceptable choice. Probably not the best choice, but it's one that I'm willing to bet on here. That is what we are going to do. Now, next up, we do need to not design, but manufacture the rear wing that we have, the rear wing 5. And if we rush it, we'll be able to kind of get it prepped. We'll have one available for race day. So I think we do that. Again, we are running out of money fast here. We might be forced to just not do any development for the last 3 months-ish. And that is fine. Again, we're trying to do a kind of a one-shot here. So as long as we get that done, I'll be happy. Let's see, Q2, qualifying position, both drivers in Q3. But yeah, let's have a look here now at what the car looks like. We can have one new chassis. We are going to give these to Hamilton, because Hamilton has been performing, well, the best currently. We're going to give him the new rear wing as well. We have one new side pod that we can also give to Hamilton's car. However, the gains are so low that we're just not going to do that because they still need to get used to the car part. So we don't want to take on that sacrifice. The extra cooling, the extra cornering here, I think is good enough here. We want to put on the new suspension. And what I mean here by not putting on the side pod is that the gain is very low and we still need to get comfortable with the part itself for extra confidence gain during practice. And we have a lot of new parts, so we'll not do that side pod for now. Now with the new parts that we have put on the car, if we take a look at our rank on the grid, if we change the car 2, well, car 1 still very bad on the high speed. And still, we're really, really bad on the high speed. We're really, really bad on the medium speed. So, yeah, we're not having the best of times. And if we compare it to the Red Bull here, they still have a fairly sizable advantage in cornering right now. That's almost 0.05, 0.06, almost 0.07. We've caught up in top speed, almost. But we still need a decent chunk of cornering here to really, really be competitive, I think. So we put ourselves in a bit of an interesting position, honestly. But for now, let's head to Dutch GP and see how we do. And I'll have a little bit of a think on where we want to put our CFD time. So with the changes to the car right now that Hamilton has taken the most advantage of, we're about 3/10 behind Verstappen. But we are getting closer to, well, his times. Leclerc, however, is a little bit further behind, unfortunately setting his worst times in Q3. If you'd say that his Q1 time, he'd been basically a couple of places further up the grid. But even then, we are in a little bit of trouble here, as both Verstappen and Perez seem to be pretty stable in first and second. Sainz, however, in the mix here, which is nice to see. Both Hasses, both Astons. So, a little bit of back and forth, which of course is always a bit of fun. Let's see how we do in terms of the race here. We're going to have to kind of nail the strategy, I think, if we want to have any chance of ending up on the podium. And just a quick look here at the compound performance. About 5/10 difference between the softs and the mediums. 300 degradation, so 16 to 17 laps, those softs are going to hold the advantage. Medium to hard tire, almost 3/10. If we do rough matte, 2600s. So basically 26, 25, 26 laps of advantage for the mediums over the hard, which means that of course we want to try and avoid the hard here unless we're using it in a full attack capacity. So I think we're going to start on the medium, go at it full attack like we usually do. Just seems to be the better option. Then we add in some calm soft stints. That usually tends to work the best. So that is going to be a strategy around here, unless we have an incident. We could also try and say start on a hard tire, push it a little bit further than the medium, and see if that is any better. Once again, just because we can push it further. And it is slightly quicker, interestingly enough. And it does give us more to use on the soft tires themselves. So it could work. Even though, again, the mediums are supposed to be to hold advantage for longer. It's just because we're running attack. What I am curious about, though, is can we run the initial medium in a way that allows us to do just a straight up one stop here. And as you can see, these are going to be quite a lot quicker. Could we do it with a standard medium onto a hard tire? Yes, we could. But it's going to be a bit slower than the strategy set up, and even slower than these two. So I think we are going to gamble on just starting on the hard tire, which is potentially going to punish us a little bit. Now we're going to go with the medium here. Again, the reason why we want to use a medium rather than hard, we can stay out longer. But the earlier we pit, the better our chances are of jumping the cars behind. Because basically, pitting earlier, you go onto a tire that will be a lot quicker than the tire that everyone else uses. And as a result, you can usually jump some places. So we're going to stick with that strategy. Hopefully it will work out here. And hopefully for Leclerc, he'll have a good showing. So let's get into this and see if we can get a good result here that we kind of do need. So soft tire for Verstappen, medium for Paris, a couple of hards here. That's going to make things a little bit interesting, that we have different strategies available. Hamilton should not harvest. That was my mistake. Hamilton is keeping a hold of his position. Luckily for us, Magnussen on the hard behind might actually turn out to be a bit of a blessing, because if he potentially just holds up Alonso, Stroll, ironically enough, the Vries, then potentially he could play a pretty important role here, as the Vries actually overtakes Leclerc on a hard tire. So yeah, hopefully we can get that little bit extra boost here. I'll have to think about it. Underfloor might be the way to go for maximum gains, but I'm a little bit unsure exactly how our car is looking now in terms of where we'd see the bigger expertise gains. So we'll have to take a look at that. Hamilton now in third, kind of in a good position here, honestly. Can be very, very happy with that. And while we're not really happy with Leclerc behind the Vries, I think that problem is going to solve itself pretty soon. Give him once we get a little bit more top speed on him, it's going to be even easier. But yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that he has gotten himself stuck behind the AlphaTauri. For now, though, we're going to keep on working on getting Leclerc out of his troublesome position, and we'll see how we stack up come the pit stops. So the first stint has actually gone pretty well, as I just broke the game. But yeah, you can see Hamilton third, Leclerc in fourth. We'll have to restart this. Hopefully I can get back in the same position.
At the moment,
So we have a slight change from the previous race, and that is we've had a bit of an incident between Magnussen and the Aston Martin in our attempts to, well, get by them. And it ended up with Magnussen getting taken out by Alonso, which is a bit unfortunate, but it does throw a bit of a monkey wrench into our plans. Because what's going to happen here is that we're going to double stack in the pits. There's just no way around it. You can already see Piastri, Gasly, Tsunoda, Sargent pitting, and we're going to be doing the same thing because there's no reason not to. And I assume everyone here is going to pit. So crossing our fingers that we are not going to be getting any problems, but The restart of the race here has gone pretty much the same, with the exception that we are, I believe, a little bit further away from Hamilton than on the previous edition. And that is just how things be. So yeah, double stack there from Red Bull could definitely be good for us. Potentially here. Bit of a slow stop from Hamilton. Just ever so slightly slow. Leclerc here, let's see how he has it.
Sorry about that.
Big exhale there from Hamilton as a response. And we do, I believe, benefit from the pit stops here for both of our cars. So that helped quite a bit. Now, the question, of course, is can we keep these tires alive till the end? And seeing the degradation on the mediums, I'm pretty sure that we can, as long as we do keep them on light.
Okay.
So, again, golden opportunity for us. Handed a free pit stop. We'll have to see if everyone else takes advantage of this. The Perez is on hard tires, Verstappen is on mediums. So, potentially here, they will have a bit of a tire advantage. But hopefully, I'm hoping that our soft tires will allow us to kind of just stay with them. So, I'll see how this goes. But very surprisingly here, De Vries is running in 5th. So, we'll also have to pay attention to him and see how he finishes this race. But yeah, being forced to restart, maybe not the worst thing here. But honestly, I think both races would have been further in their own way. So, while I'm okay with this, I don't think it really matters too much. Let us speed along here. I think we're going to have just a pretty straightforward restart. I don't think anything is really going to happen. Our tires are up to temperature, as you can see. So, no real worry here with running them on conserve. It should be fine. Or light, rather. Conserve is purple. Light is light blue. And I'm just curious here on the restart if we are going to be able to keep up with the Red Bulls. So that is just what we want to have a look at here. And this is an interesting view on the restart there. Everyone just kind of Sunday driving down the straight. Yeah, it looks like we are keeping up somewhat. Not amazingly, but at least a little bit, which we should actually easily keep up. We're on the better tire. But yeah, temperature-wise, looks good too. We are basically around the border. We can't run conserve here. That would actually bring our temperatures down too low. So for now, we're going to burn off some fuel, and then we'll see if we can keep up with Verstappen come the next pit stop.
Okay,
We have a red flag here. Still don't know what happened, but we are running with the Red Bull, so things are looking good. But this does definitely throw another wrench into the plans, and it is Bottas, as well as some other cars here. So,
and that's one surefire way to put a dampener on your weekend.
that is unfortunate, but
As for the team,
it does make things kind of interesting again here, because now we have to make a decision on what we do. And I think this is when we do the bit of the wild card here for Leclerc. I think we're going to start him on a hard tire. Let's face it, we're almost halfway through this. Lap 36 would be the halfway point. We're going to be starting basically halfway through. I think we start Leclerc on the hard tire, and we see how aggressive we can run it to get him till the end. Now, a lot of the cars here have already used their hard tires. They're kind of stuck on a medium. Worst case scenario, we can run him full attack and then switch him over to either a soft tire or the medium tire. We have options, basically. We know for a fact that, yeah, soft tire is not making it till the end, no way. Medium probably can, but hard definitely will make it till the end, and we can run it full attack if we see the need to switch up our strategy. Now, for Hamilton, we can do the same, or we can go soft and basically just commit to another pit stop. Now, can we create a gap in 16 laps? Sorry, not 16 laps. 18 laps, basically. That is big enough for that. Maybe not, but I think it's worth it. It's either that or we put him on the same strategy as we did Leclerc. I want to put them on different strategies, and we do have two softs available for Hamilton. He doesn't have a medium. So I think this should work. We'll have to see exactly how far the tire can bring us. Honestly, probably should have done it the other way around, but let's face it, Hamilton had 2 softs, Leclerc only had 1, hence why we're doing differentiating strategies.
We are all set and ready.
So medium and hard tire, they're probably going to try and go to the end. Soft runners are going to have to pit again, so we do need to keep that in mind. We are going to go full attack here in the beginning. And as I mentioned here, we're going to go ahead and have a look at what we can do strategy-wise. So for Leclerc here, his hard tire is going to be fine as long as he runs it standard. Question here is just how aggressive can we run this hard tire? So if we run it standard, he will make it till the end. That is strategy B. Okay, let's use that as a base. No difference here. And the estimated race time. Good. Now, the other strategy we wanted is to just run that full attack and then switch to a soft tire. Is that going to be any quicker? About 10 seconds. Already. And where do we pit then for the maximum effect? That would be there. We can actually run these into the ground, then have a little bit of soft tire at the end. Again, gain about 10 seconds doing that, rather than not stopping. The question is, do we gain over the next 20 laps enough time to make it worth it to pit? The amount of soft runners I saw, I think it's going to be worth it, so I think we do this for Leclerc. It just makes more sense. And for Hamilton then, soft tire that he has, we can run it standard. We can actually run it aggressive too, I think. And Hamilton has a hard tire available to him. So let's see what we can actually do to keep things somewhat interesting. That would be about... this is basically saying that we're doing with Leclerc. So that would be fine. But can we do something with both the soft tires here? And the question for that is yes. We can just run standard. And that'll work. And then we can run more aggressive at the end. And we'll end up with around the same in terms of lap. In terms of time taken. So I think we just do this for Hamilton. We do push for a lap or two. Then we turn him down to standard. Will we benefit from running light? We actually would. As you can see, there's no real difference. But light won't make it till the end is the only issue. So yeah, we are going to have to go probably for something like this then. But it does give us more benefits that we can elect when to pit. So run an attack for a lap, switch it to light, and then work from there. So yeah, I think we have an idea on what we want to do. Just be aggressive here on the restart. Hopefully get a position or two back. So see Leclerc there sending it on the Red Bull immediately. Hulkenberg ate a 10-second penalty, and we have Bottas, Hulkenberg, Piastri, and Magnussen out so far. Fortunately, Leclerc couldn't get the overtake done, and I think I'm going to just turn down Hamilton here immediately. Because let's face it, Hamilton doesn't need to push. He's stuck behind Leclerc. Leclerc's the one that's going to have to, you know, make an attack first. So we don't really have any reason to push at the current time being. So yeah, I think we have our plan clear. We have our plan ready. I threw in a Norwegian-ish word there for a second. But yeah, let's see how this looks at the time of our pit stop. So just to go through what I mentioned a little bit earlier here about everyone having to pit again. The only one that might not need to pit is Verstappen. But Paris, the way he's pushing, everyone else the way they're pushing, everyone is going to have to pit again at one point. So that makes it a bit interesting here in the sense that I might have chosen the wrong strategy with Hamilton. Because Hamilton is currently taking care of his tires. And that might actually backfire because of the fact that, well, everyone is going to need to pit. The longer we stay out, the less of an advantage we're going to have because, well, the cars behind us are going to pit onto tires that are quicker than us. And basically we're going to get undercut. So we'd like to avoid that, of course. Now, with that in mind, we're going to have Hamilton here just go full attack, use up these tires as quickly as possible, and then we'll see what we can do in terms of strategy after that. Creating a gap to the rest of the pack too is just an added benefit of that, so it is good. But yeah, these hard tires, we basically eaten them up incredibly quick. So Verstappen here, we'll have to see if we can get him by the end of this. But it does look viable. And you can already see Ocon, Stroll, both of them are pitting. And unless they get held up by other cars, they could pose a potential threat to us. So there is a reason why we elected to go full attack. It's probably a little bit too late to adapt strategies, to be fair. But it is what I have elected to do. And honestly, currently we have a pretty decent gap here. So I think we will be safe unless we have a slow pit stop to allow Hamilton to run as he is there. Allow him to use up
Pretty hot.
these soft tires and then have a bit better of an advantage towards the end. We are struggling to overtake Verstappen though, although we got that done just there. But yeah, Verstappen here is quick. He is going to be on old hards though by the end of this. So that's going to be kind of hopefully our saving grace. As now virtually everyone is pitting. Ocon, I believe, is the first one that did pit. And he's currently, I believe, in our pit window. Well, he's getting there. So we have probably one more lap after this one before we absolutely need to pit. As you can see, Perez there does in fact jump in. So let's get Hamilton in. Let's get him onto a new set of soft tires. And I'm kind of curious here, what exactly is Perez and Sainz going to come out on? I don't know what they have available to them.
Box.
I'm gonna box this up.
Perez with old softs. Sainz with old softs. So they basically used up their entire backup capabilities here. And judging by this, we can just run the tires on standard. We are going to be pitting Leclerc as well. Key 2, you can see as standard. Probably even aggressive towards the end of that stint. So let's go ahead, get them in, put them on standard for the sake of heating up the tires and keeping them somewhat alive. Just going to double check that we are pitting both cars. We are. There is a little gap in between them of 5 seconds. Hopefully that will be enough. We'll have to see though. But yeah, can we, over the last 16 laps here, close down Verstappen again on a fresh soft versus his old hard as De Vries goes up into second place. Perez does jump us here in the pits, which isn't really that big of a surprise. Leclerc comes out in 6th behind Ocon. But still, I'd say we're in a good spot here as we have better tire available to us, but there is a little bit of a gap up to Perez. Leclerc has a little bit of a bigger gap to contend with. So let's see how this turns out for us. Currently, Verstappen is running 14.11s. The outlap 31.2, 31.3. Not really that surprising. But I am curious what this lap is going to show us, as Alonso sets fastest lap at 1:12.1. Same here for Sainz. What exactly are we going to set? Fastest lap for Perez, 12, 12.7, 13. So we're not pushing as hard as they are. They're pushing their tires a bit harder than we are for sure. And that is honestly a-okay at the moment. We're going to allow them to do that. Now with that said, we should see De Vries pit fairly soon. But we'll keep on working forwards here and see if we can catch up to both Perez and also hopefully Verstappen. We turn our cars up to aggressive and Hamilton snatched his fastest lap. And he gained almost 2 seconds on Verstappen. If he keeps that up, he will catch up to him. If Leclerc also keeps up 2 seconds, he might be in with a chance. But currently we are running behind Ocon. That is going to prove to be its own problem unless we can clear him quickly. So hopefully, again, we can just get by him on the first try. Because if not, Leclerc is probably not going to be standing any chance of catching up. But we did get by. Question is, can we stay ahead? And on this lap as well, we did just get a second off. 1.7 seconds for Hamilton, but Leclerc was stuck for a little bit. So if we go full attack towards the end, just maybe we still do stand a chance. The question here is going to be, when is that perfect moment to turn our tires onto complete aggression? Just 7 laps to go here. Hamilton 6 seconds behind Perez. Sorry, 6 seconds behind Verstappen. Just 2.6 seconds behind Perez. Leclerc needs 10 seconds here to catch up to Perez alone. But if Hamilton manages to snatch a win here, I'm gonna be extremely happy for us. I'll take that as a win on its own. As Shoei now could potentially be a bit of a troublesome customer, and he kind of was. But I think also he gave us the RS, and he did. So we'll accept that. I do want to run top up a little bit here because we were running out of battery for a second. But it does look like we are going to be able to catch up to Verstappen. The question just now is, when do we go full attack? And I think we allow this lap to finish, and then we go full attack. And that should be a good enough window. Unfortunately, I don't think Leclerc is going to be able to be a part of this. For him, we're going to just have to gamble on him keeping the tires alive. You can already see here, running aggressive, that we're using about 5% a lap. So running full attack could backfire, as both Verstappen and Perez now are running together. But I don't think we really have much of a choice, as, well, currently Verstappen is actually running fairly quickly. 12.2. Verstappen quicker than either me or Perez. But with a little bit extra attack, might be able to make it happen. I think we need to run Harvest here too, for like just a lap, so we have energy to launch attacks when we kind of need to. And even then, we could get the overtake done with DRS, which we actually do pull off. Now it's just, can we catch Verstappen? And Leclerc should be fine. Might have overestimated a little bit how high Deg would be. But we are going to be able to launch just a singular attack, I think, on this final lap.
Final lap.
We are going to gamble on being able to get it done in the first DRS zone. And I think what we're going to do that is just allow the deploy usage as well as high overtake aggression. A little bit risky to use high overtake aggression, but can be very, very worth it if used at the correct times. And we do get the overtake done. Question just now is, do we have enough energy to stay ahead? And do we have enough fuel to get over the finish line? Oh, that sign is in the way, but we do win the drag race to the line. Hamilton does take the win at Zandvoort.
Get in there, Lewis.
Bit unfortunate for Leclerc, but first and fourth, we can be happy with that. De Vries ends up in 11th, as he was very stubborn on when to pit. But he does get past his lap, as he was one of the cars that pitted last. So, very interesting race that we had. We'll take first and fourth. It's not amazing, but it is a good result if you just want to keep our positions. Private Championship then. Well, before that, let's just have a look and see if there's any interesting finishes. Russell in 5th, Sainz in 8th, Albon and Ocon 6th and 7th. Then we have the two Aston Martins finishing out the points. And as mentioned, De Vries here unfortunately couldn't hold on to his podium position. So yeah, we do extend the lead here then. 10 points to Perez. Verstappen gains a little bit on Leclerc. Just a singular point between them now. So it looks like we might actually have a very close finish to the season. And remember, for this race, Hamilton had parts that Leclerc didn't. So if Leclerc had those parts as well, he probably would be quite a lot closer. But also, I don't know if we would have any chance of winning without safety car, without red flag. So those things do throw a bit of a wrench into the estimations, how good we are, how bad the AI is, if you will. So it does cause us a little bit of pain. As our factory is upgraded, our revving has been manufactured, and we'll have a look at these things next time. So I'm going to have to end it here. So I ended up going on an impromptu trip this Easter, which is why there haven't been some videos for a few days. But now that I'm back, I'll be sitting down today on Sunday. Probably going to be releasing this fairly late. But that should be okay. And preparing some videos for next week. We should be seeing every current series running. Basically these 4 videos. That's going to be the goal. And yeah, looking forward to getting back into this. I kind of feel like I needed this Easter vacation, so hope everyone else has had a good Easter, and hope to see you all again next time. Excuse me. Now, I've had quite a lot of fun with this, so I'm probably going to continue it as is, because we now have reached a point where we have some competition, some fairly close competition with the Red Bulls. So I'm going to keep this as a little bit of a guilty pleasure for myself, where I can focus a little bit more on the maybe racing aspect, maybe go a little bit deeper on that. But yeah, I'm having fun with this. I'm keeping it. I'm probably going to play, as I mentioned earlier, this full season, and then we're going to pack it away. So again, thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you next time. Bye bye.